A lot of people have sometimes thought about reading comics outside of DC and Marvel. Maybe they've heard of IDW Publishing, they've heard of Image Comics, and they want to check out other comics that are not part of the big two. And so I decided to do my research, and I kind of like categorized or made a list with this information. Any comic book that didn't originally start from Marvel and DC, and they maybe eventually got under them, or are under imprints that the stories don't connect to the main line continuity. They're just there on their own. And so I made this list of great comic books that are not connected to the main line Marvel and DC. You can read them, enjoy them, and just have fun. So number one on my list is The Mask. A lot of people have heard of The Mask from the movie. The comic is much darker, and The Mask Omnibus collects the original The Mask Returns, and The Mask Strikes Back. It's a very nice story, very edgy, and his abilities are pretty much the same. Funny thing is that Ipkiss is only the main character for like the first The Mask, and then the next guy just continues on. Then secondly, we have Spawn by Todd McFarlane. We all know Spawn. Most of us know Spawn, so that one isn't a problem. There's the Spawn Compendium. If anybody's looking to buy Spawn and read it all at once, Volume 1 to Volume 6 is out, I believe. And number 3 is Miracle Man by Alan Moore. You just look for Miracle Man, the original epic. It collects like the whole thing. And then Neil Gaiman continued Miracle Man. He wrote the Golden Age, the Silver Age. He planned for a third book, but because of the controversies surrounding him, I don't think that would ever see the light of day. Then we go to number 4, Invincible. As we all know, Invincible, if you watch the animated series or you've read the comic, you will know Invincible. And so the compendiums are there if you want to buy, or you can read issue by issue depending on how you want to read it. Then 5 and 6 is Irredeemable and Incorruptible. I really love these books. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Just get them and read them. They are wonderful. 7 is Hellboy. The Hellboy universe in particular. Hellboy Volume 1 to Volume 12, Hellboy the Complete Short Stories, Hellboy and the BRPD, and BRPG Devil. I know it's a lot because there's even the Ape Sapien books and the other spin-offs, but Hellboy itself is a very self-contained story. You don't need to read the other spin-offs, you don't need to read the tie-in series, just read the regular Hellboy from Volume 1 to Volume 12 and you're good to go. Then we go to 8, and that's The Walking Dead. As we all know, The Walking Dead series was very popular. The comic is kind of different, but the premise is the same. The premise is the same. So that is The Walking Dead. My number 8. Number 9 is Saga. Just check this out. I don't want to spoil it. It's very wild and bizarre book. Saga. Then 10 is Preacher. I believe there's a show, Preacher. So if you want to check it out, I don't know how different it is from the comic, but I hear it's good, so you can check it out. Preacher. Then Y the Last Man. Oof. Y the Last Man is number 11. I absolutely love this book. I read this book when I was 14, and I absolutely love this. One of my favorite comic books of all time. I was actually so disappointed when this series came out, the Hulu series, and it was nothing like the book. We had the same premise, but they just messed it up. I wonder what's up with these people are not actually putting their all to probably adapt these stories. I just don't get it. And then we go to 12, Boone. Just read Boone. It looks like a children's book, but this book is just crazy. It's crazy, and the paneling, the artwork is insane. The artist, she's a master of sequential art. He just I don't want to glaze, but he's a master of his craft. And then I'm just going to go to the next one. Next one, Luther Strode. Luther Strode it has a trilogy. I believe it's a book trilogy of it, and it's collected as the complete series. But Luther Strode is a very nice comic. You can check it out. And then this is Astro City, which I'm currently reading right now. I'm in the third Metro book. It is wonderful. If you want to know how to write superhero stories, not just superhero stories, but the world of superheroes, I believe you should check out Astro City. I highly recommend it. Astro City is worth the read. And then we go to Jupiter's Legacy. I haven't read the third book, but Volume 1 and Volume 2 are just phenomenal. I believe there's an edition called the Library Edition, which contains the second book, which is the prequel as the Volume 1, then the first book, which is the Volume 2, the first story. So, you can buy that if you can find it. And then this set of books are called the Superhuman Trilogy by Warren Ellis. So they go Black Summer, No Hero, and Super God. They are wonderful and they capture, in a very unique sense, the relations between superpowered human beings and their connection to humanity. And then my next on the list is Milestone Comics. Milestone, originally founded by Don McDuffie, is they have Static, they have Icon, Rocket, Hardware, Zombie, and they got their newer Milestone in recent years, ZLM. I haven't really touched those ones, but I'm reading the earlier Milestone comics and they are really good. I've read Icon and Rocket and I've read Static. I highly recommend Milestone comics, and if you're looking forward to them, the original Milestone isn't really set in the DC universe. I think when they merged over, and then it's apart from that stuff where these big companies will buy these smaller companies and then they don't really know what to do with the characters again. So that's what happens. But you really want to tap into the original Milestone. I believe the Milestone compendiums are out, so you can look them up. Then we have Conan the Barbarian. Like, just go and look up a Conan the Barbarian reading order. I think he started being published as a comic book with Marvel, but Conan the Barbarian is a crazy character. One of the legends of sword and sorcery, the genre, and I highly recommend reading his character. I think there's a Dark Horse version and there's like a Marvel version, but I think you can read them together. I don't really know. I haven't read the comics, but it's one of the greats, and I've always been recommended Conan the Barbarian. Then the next on the list is Wildstorm Comics. You know, Gen 13, Grifter, Wildcat. People say they were good. They came out when Image Comics was formed in the 90s. They had all the edginess, all the packets and all the jackets and all whatnot, the big guns. But I heard they were actually okay. So if you want to check out something unique, I believe you can look up Milestone Comics. And then we go to The Boys. We all know The Boys. It has a TV series adaptation. I think the first season is the most similar to the comic in any way, but it took the bad part of the comic out and heightened the good part of it. But the series dragged out and we all know how it ended. It wasn't a bad ending, but it wasn't a great one either. So that's that. But I highly recommend the comic. It's very different. Then next on the list is Scott Pilgrim. We all know Scott Pilgrim, the movie. They also had this recent animated series that just came out. Scott Pilgrim is highly recommended if you're trying to get into some nice artistic and realistic stories. You can check it out, just day in the life kind of stuff. Then we have Sin City by Frank Miller. There's some good stuff. Just check it out. Then we have Something is Killing the Children. Just look it up. Concept is crazy. Just look it up. Then we have next on the list is Judge Dredd. I think to read Judge Dredd, there's this other reading order which is like the essential Judge Dredd. I don't really know how to read this one, but then there's the Judge Dredd case files, which I think the main stories kind of like start around the full case file also. So if you're interested, you can start buying the Judge Dredd case files. And then there's this other comic, The Antagonist. It's recent. It's about like this black supervillain family. I kind of like it. I like the concept. I like the concept. It's really nice. It reminds me of like the twisted version of The Incredibles or like Black Lightning. But they all have like different powers and stuff, different skill sets. And this has some good comics. Oh, I almost forgot this Once and a Future. It's another wild comic. So these are a bunch of good comics that are not really published under DC and Marvel. They didn't start out as DC and Marvel originally. Maybe they came out as books, or they started out as from other mediums, or they were under imprints in DC and Marvel that didn't really tie into the main continuity. But I highly recommend these books.